You had to come so far in learning to be comfortable in your skin. Talk about your journey with colorism and how you got comfortable with who you are as a dark-skinned woman.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm still not comfortable in my skin.
Wow.
I've learned to embrace it. I've learned to accept it, but to be comfortable, that's something I think therapy, I'm working through it, you know what I'm saying? I have to be completely honest and vulnerable where it's like, okay, you know, I even had pink lip gloss on today and I had to take it off because I've always learned, you know, through, you know, microaggressions, small things people will say, where they'll say dark-skinned women aren't supposed to wear light lip makeup, you know what I'm saying, light lipstick or whatever it is, so I never do, you know what I'm saying? So I think there's still moments where I have uncertainty, but I think getting there or trying to embrace the skin that I have, it came with loving Black women around me and embracing those around me, loving my aunts, loving that they loved their skin and they were unapologetic with it and they let it shine and they didn't shy away from the sun. You know, a lot of times you see a lot of people saying, I don't want to get too black,
get too dark.
whatever it is. Learning that they just accepted, they loved, they embraced their skin. I was like, I want to be that. I want to get there. So, you know, if I had to fake it till I make it in the beginning, I got to where I am today. You know what I'm saying? Where I was like, I had to tell myself certain things. And manifest me being this person I am now. You know, tell myself, I'm gonna love it one day. I'm going to embrace and stand in this skin and love it one day. But I just have to figure out how I'm gonna get there. Therapy is how I got there. Loving Black people is how I got there. Helping other Black girls is how I got there. Talking to other dark-skinned little girls who don't see themselves ever in any space. Being love interests in movies or, you know, not being the funny friend or, you know, just all of those things. So I think it's like, I think what I've tried to do and always done is try to make sure that other people feel seen. Those other Black girls feel seen. And I think I'll see myself through them.
Wow. We got a social media comment coming in. Tiffany Cheatham says that, Cheatham Lawrence, says, glow on, Issa Rae, you are beautifully melanated. Trina Cox on Facebook says, my colorism occurs as a Black woman in IT. I get passed on for executive opportunities even after bringing it to my employer's attention. We are vetted more harshly than other diasporas. I'm wondering, because you're also in entertainment as well, and you navigate these spaces. Is that something that women, you think, wrestle with more than men? Because I'm not sure that dark-skinned men necessarily have to deal with it in the same way.
Right. I mean, I personally have dealt with it, you know, a lot. I mean, I'm not, I'm not the darkest on the spectrum. Like chocolate our shades are beautiful, but when I think about the times when I've gone against a lighter skinned woman for a competition or, you know, any type of audition is a competition, there obviously have been times they're like, she's just not the look we're going for. And it
like the
sucks. It sucks because you're like, well, this is the skin I was born into. So at the end of the day, how do I feel comfortable in it? And I think what Scottie is doing is so beautiful because every single day there's someone who looks like you and me that is like, oh man, they're doing it and they're in their skin and they're killing it. And even through the insecurities, I always see you show up. So I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, for real.
Always. But anyway, back to the question. I think that it's harder for women because, and I hate to bring it all the way back to slavery, but at the end of the day, that light skin, dark skin feeling of like they should get more attention started from the house. Like they were the women that were brought into the house, unfortunately, because a lot of the times they were products of rape, but then they become, you know, the daughters and they're sold off to different places and the men want them because they look like that, and then they become this commodity that wasn't ever supposed to be, you know, a division between our people. And it's not just in African American cultures or African cultures, it's in every culture. Darker skin is seen as less than for some reason. And I hate it, but it's something that I would love to know how we move forward from, because it's still 200 years later something that we're talking about consistently.
And that's the scary part.
Right, like I don't want my kids to have to deal with it.
Right, and so you have to constantly work against white supremacy all the time. And people think about white supremacy as just like, it's not just about control over the economy and all those other things, which it is. It's about literally believing that white people's lives are worth more, that they're more human than we are. And so white supremacy becomes a way that, to me, where people worship gods that don't look like them. They want, I mean,
here we go.
I mean, can you imagine?
That it's in the Bible.
The Bible is in literally places where everyone's dark skinned.
Right. Everybody.
Right, but then you look at the picture and it's Luke Perry. You know what I mean?
Or John Lennon.
Right? You're like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
And it's like we want it as much as they do. Like nobody loves white people more than black people. And so we end up valuing that.
I told you to come with the ball.
Switch off that one.
Let me pick up a Jew. Right here.
But this is what ends up happening, man. And so we have to unlearn that. And through our textbooks, through how we practice our religions, through how we raise our children, through who we date, who we hire, who we cast.
Casting.
You know what I mean? Because if we look at all the music videos, if we look at all who the news anchors are, it's not enough to be black if they're all light skinned. And I want this isn't about dissing light skinned people. It's about saying that there has to be a range of colors and all of them be seen as valuable.
The world.
Exactly.
Right.
It to me it's just tremendous looking at the spectrum. We see so many the representations of black people. While I think it's getting more diverse, we see stereotypical casts for darker skinned people. Like you said, like black women can't be a front. They got to play the funny best friend. You know what I'm saying? You see aggressive, dark-skinned black men all the time in thug roles and everything. And then you get, light-skinned dudes are called too sensitive. And, so there's a spectrum there. It's like, when can we be human?
Right.
Like, I'm black.
Right.
I'm dark-skinned. Right. I could be human. I could be sensitive.
That's what I always, when I'm working somewhere or I'm having a conversation or it's a meeting or my first thought is, okay, because I'm dark-skinned and because I'm a woman, I really have to tone it down.
Wow.
Because if I say anything in the slightest that might be looked at as aggressive, they won't want to work with me.
Yeah.
And you have to play that game. And I'm tired of playing it. You know what I'm saying? Because I am human and I'm allowed to be passionate.
Exactly.
I'm allowed to be a person and a human, but of course I don't have that luxury of thinking that way. I have to think, all right, I'm dark-skinned, so I have to act, I have to be subtle. I have to timid. I have to try to calm it down. You know what I'm saying? And I hate doing that because that's not how I was raised. Right. It's not how I was raised. So yeah, I really wish that we would start it here. Within black people, we have a conversation about colorism and how we can change. I remember a guy had said to me, he gives light-skinned women a pass as far as looks.
Crazy.
Than dark-skinned women. What? And you have to be beautiful. He was being very honest.
He was saying
he was like, a mediocre light-skinned girl is better than the beautiful dark-skinned girl.
So
and unfortunately, that's really not that uncommon, though. That's
most people don't admit it.
Right. But he admitted it, and I was like, I have to give it to you because I'm gonna slap the shit out of you.
I'm gonna scrap.
Right.
But I hear you.
But I hear you.
At least you can say it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think the craziest part about all of this is that I think the only way to really move forward is to call it out every time we see it.
Yep.
I mean, like, so you just did that and you sound crazy, right? Like just to call it out. And I love that you were allowing him to be honest, but I'm sure you gave him a piece of your mind.
No, of course. Of course. But I would love for black men to call it out too.
Absolutely.
Please, thanks. Can y'all call it out?
On it.
Thank
On
you.
it. You got that?